It is formed for the first FIA European Truck Racing Championship round of the weekend. 4 races here as part of the ETRC Truck Grand Prix, and the grid based on the time set in Q1 yesterday and in Superpole, with pole position going the way of Antonio Albacete by a very narrow margin indeed. We're talking thousandths of a second at the end of the qualifying period. It was Jochen Hahn who was good in qualifying itself, but Albacete just sneaked it in Superpole, and he had to have 2 bites at that. Jochen Hahn lost out on his first run, and Albacete right at the very end got himself back to the top of the times. It was a 1:54.805 from Albacete versus a 54.829 for Jochen Hahn, so just 24 thousandths of a second between the two of them. It's Antonio Albacete's first pole position since Jarama at the back end of last year, and Jochen Hahn comes here as the championship leader. He's had 4 race wins already this season. He, of course, is a 4 times champion. Antonio Albacete is a champion of years past as well, but you've got to go back a little bit to find his 05, 06 and 2010 title successes. Antonio with 79 race wins to his name, and Jochen Hahn with 87 to the credit of the German driver. There is the grid, formed and good to go. It will be a 13-lap race when the trucks are released. Of course, it'll be from a rolling start behind the pace truck, and this opening race of 4 set to get underway, with the results determining the grid for race 2, with the top 8 reversed as well. So there's always that fascination of seeing who's going to squeeze onto pole position for the second race. David Addison and Martin Houston trackside. Qualifying and Superpole yesterday, Martin was absolutely enthralling. But is it going to be Jochen Hahn to score a race win, or can Antonio Albacete keep his elbows out and fend him off, do you think, through the first few corners?
Well, he is the local man. He has the local knowledge and the experience of success here in the past. So need to wait and see. That first turn is going to be a decider. If Hahn can get through clear, he has the speed and the capability to pull away.
Yes, absolutely right. So as the grid is formed, Jochen Hahn, who was a winner here 2 years ago, a winner back in 2014, a winner back in 2013 and 2012, but last year, out of the 3 races that we had, they were all won by Adam Lachko, and it was only 3 races last year because the final one had to be abandoned because of oil on the track from an earlier incident that spilled fluid everywhere. The grandstands are filling up, and this race to get underway very shortly.
Yeah, and hopefully Hecker's truck has been repaired and we won't have any oil leaks, because they do take a lot of time to clean up from these trucks.
Yeah, Clemens Hecker was pumping out black smoke in the earlier qualifying session, for which he lost his lap time. So we've had the track sweeping devices out there. The race director and the clerk of the course will have been talking to the marshals to make sure that there's nothing spilt anywhere around the lap, and the circuit, I think, is clear. So our full complement of 22 trucks there, even allowing for the fact that we had Eduardo Rodriguez getting involved in a bit of contact in the warm-up, and also Terry Gibbon, who had a cracked cylinder head on his MAN's engine, and parts flown in last night from the UK, and the team has worked all night to put him on the grid. He is on the grid, he's at the back. A big effort from the team, T-Sport, which has this link with PE Automotive this year, and everybody has pulled together tremendously to get him onto the grid. At the front of which is Antonio Albacete in the orange and white Truck Sport Lutz Bernau rig, just hidden slightly out of shot behind the pace truck. Jochen Hahn, with all the home hopes resting upon him, is there alongside. It's a truly cosmopolitan entry, of course, as well, with the Czech Republic, with Germany, Hungary, Portugal, the Netherlands, Great Britain, France, Spain, all represented on the grid, and it includes, going back a little bit, Theo Calvé, who has raced in the French Championship, indeed been a race winner in the French Series in the past, but he came hot foot yesterday from sitting his baccalaureate exams to come and do a weekend of truck racing for the French Lion truck racing team, Anthony Janiek's team. And Theo's father, Fabien Calvé, a very successful French truck racer and event organiser. And Theo debuted last year as a 16-year-old at Nogaro, and the former motocrosser could be one to watch in this race. Expect some good battles up and down the order. There's a nice mix of drivers that have come from car racing into truck racing, or have always had this background in trucks and truck racing, like René Reinert, for example, whose fleet of trucks you'll see parked trackside as we get the green flag lap underway. But René, like many, with a haulage background, racing, and the perfect way to promote his company. There he is on the second row of the grid, and Reinert was a winner in the most recent event at the Hungaroring, so he's going to be one to watch as well, isn't he?
Yep, it certainly is. And good to see all the grid girls out with the trucks, unlike other forms of motorsport.
There's a tradition to be maintained here. I think if you got rid of them from a German truck Grand Prix, there'd be a riot. So Norbert Kirsch, you see in the background, he had an engine change yesterday. The truck in free practice had problems and deposited liquid everywhere, but they got him out for qualifying. And Norbert Kirsch, another of the former champions for the Tankpool Vierundzwanzig squad with the Mercedes-Benz, another driver to keep an eye to. Number 3, you can just see there the black and red colours in the background.
These are
43 wins Norby has had after coming into truck racing from the Opel Astra Cup, and then a multiple one-make champion in Hungary, in Clio's, in Seats, and moved into truck racing in 2011, double champion in 2014 and 2015, very much, again, one of the stars of the show. And then behind him, you've got number 30, Sascha Lenz, another of the Germans. Now, there'll be a great reception, I think, if Sascha Lenz got on the podium, because here he is as a real amateur. It's done on a budget, and will be well worth watching, I suspect, over the course of this race. Antonio Albafetti then is the man on pole position, and before we get racing underway, let's go down to the grid and try and grab a word with the man on pole.
So, ich bin dann bei Antonio Albacete, dem Polesetter. Antonio, thank you for joining me in this moment. First race, pole position, no better position for starting a race. What do you expect when you look in front of the first corner with Jochen?
Well, I expect to take the first corner in first position. I know that Jochen is very strong, but I hope to have a good race with Jochen and with the other drivers, and of course I will try to win. We need it.
You want to win it, it's clear, but it's a hard fight with Jochen and René in the third, and Nobby Kish is all. Do you think you can win?
Well, I hope. I think so. So I will try for sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Antonio. And
so Antonio Albafetti then sitting on pole position. A word about Luis Refenfo, incidentally, further back on the grid, 12, his best ever qualifying. He leads the Grammar Cup, which is for the chrome graded drivers. If you think about the way that GT racing is, you've got different grades of drivers, sports car drivers, going all the way from platinum down to bronze. There's the Iron Cup and the Titanium Cup in Blancpain GT Sports Club. Well, here you've got the chrome drivers for the AMs and Titan for the pro drivers, but you have these two separate classes just to give the AMs, the chrome drivers, the less experienced, the older drivers, however you term them, something to play for. Meanwhile, in the paddock, a battle is going on, and there's a spare tyre, there's a rogue kiddie car, and on track, let's have a walk up to Sascha Lenz. There he is, the German driver starting 5th for SL Truck Sport. Sascha, who's been a mainstay of the European scene, occasional outings in the BTRA Championship, and we've already talked about his father, Heinz Werner, on track this morning in the Mittelrhein Cup qualifying, and Dad was the runner-up yesterday in the go and stop competition that we had at the end of the afternoon. Behind Sascha Lenz, you see number 1, Adam Lachko, who's recently had his appendix out and perhaps is not 100% fit, but feeling a lot better than he was before the operation. But the reigning champions had a difficult start to the season here.
Yeah, it didn't seem to be on the pace so much yesterday.
No.
But that was an interesting, you can see the view here of the drivers and how they've been lowered inside the truck cabin and the full roll cage that they have built into these trucks now.
Yeah, certainly the bonneted ones looking ever more like big touring cars. So the grid is formed, as you see. Looking further back, 24, new to Tankpool Vierundzwanzig this year is Stefan Faas, another former car racer who came out of the VLN. I mentioned the Grammar Cup a little while ago. Luis Refenfo, the man on pole position there. Grammar make interior components. They specialise in seats, and a new partner to the FIA European Truck Racing Championship this year to join many other industries that are showing their wares through this championship, such as Goodyear, for example, that provides all the rubber for the trucks. Now you get 6 tyres to do your first qualifying and the first 2 races. Another 6 for tomorrow's activity. And they need to preserve those, as you saw in the qualifying session. Anthony Janiak, look at the back of the grid, number 6. He lost lap times yesterday for track limits, so Janiak's going to be one to watch because he's a quick driver. Doesn't do the whole European Championship, but whenever he does, he's always in the mix. And I think watching him make some progress is going to be interesting indeed. So let's just confirm the front of the grid. Antonio Alberthetti starts from pole, 7th in the championship, yet to win a race this year. Jochen Hahn is alongside him. He's won 50% of the races hitherto, 4 wins, championship leader. René Reiner starts 3rd. He's had a race win. He's 6th in the championship. Norbert Kisch lining up alongside him. Norby currently is 2nd in the championship, but yet to score a race win. On the 3rd row, Sascha Lenz, he's been a race winner, 5th in the title race. Steffi Halm, 3rd in the championship alongside, and then it's Adam Lachko, the reigning champion, as the green flag is waved and we get the rolling lap underway. And Ryan Smith alongside their winners both. Lachko's 4th, Smith is 9th in the championship. On row 5, Andre Kurzim, who is 8th in the title race alongside Jose Rodriguez. Behind them, Gert Körber. So much for retiring. There he is, number 27. You just can't keep a good man down. He's got Luis Rethenfo alongside him, ahead of Stefan Faas and Thomas Robineau. Shane Brereton, winner at Most last year, goes from the 8th row of the grid with the returning Frankie Wojciech alongside him. His truck repaired after its monster fire at Misano. Next on the grid is the French teenager Theo Calvé alongside Eduardo Rodriguez, Jose's father. Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort, 3rd in the go and stop last night on the penultimate row alongside Ollie James in the 2nd of the Bagheera Ram Freightliners. And the back of the grid is Anthony Janiek, 10th in the championship. Definitely one to watch there in the yellow Lion Truck Racing team rig, and alongside him is Terry Gibbon, who deserves a good result out of this to repay all the hard work of his team overnight. If you're wondering, by the way, where you get Lion Truck Racing team from in the context of Janiek and Theo Calvé, it's because they are based in Lyon. So you take Lion and there you go. For Truck Sport Lutz Bernau, the squad operated by the former racer himself, Lutz Bernau, it is Antonio Alberthetti on pole position, Jochen Hahn alongside him, and that drag race down towards the first corner is going to be very important indeed. There in the background you see the black and red truck of Stefan Faas, who made his truck racing debut here last year for Schwaben Truck, but now very much part of Tankpool Ferenc Vansig. 20 going through the shot is Theo Calvé in the MAN, and there number 15 is Erwin Klein-Nagelvoort. So with a busy grid, there's going to be a lot to play for here in this first race of the weekend. And as they work their way now, you can see how busy it has become around the circuit. The grandstands filling up all the time.
Absolutely, completely rammed. Yeah, it's a very big event around here, and the social is big. They were out last night listening to the bands and stuff up at the festival, and the famous performer is going to be on tonight, Tom Astor. He's done all 33 of these events over the past 33 years. Yeah, he's a mainstay. The crowds love him.
Yeah.
And tonight we'll also have the fireworks.
Indeed. And Jochen Hahn then aiming to do some celebrating tonight. His lap in the warm-up session, the fastest ever around the Nürburgring short circuit. It was a 1:54.432 this morning, the fastest ever lap around this circuit for a racing truck. So if he carries that pace into this opening race of the weekend, he's going to be hard to stop. But we are about to go racing. It is the first of 4 races, this 3rd weekend within the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. The marshal with the board reminding everybody to get into the 2x2 Noah's Ark formation. The man filter guests in the grandstands with the distinctive hats, ready to cheer everybody on as the crowd overlooking the chicane get ready for action. Frankie Wojciech comes through as they bounce their way over the curb. These the fastest racing trucks with the best drivers on board.
Pace trucks pulled off into the paddock, and we're getting ready.
Antonio Alberthetti and Jochen Hahn then to control the pace. The blue and white colours of Hahn, the orange and white of Antonio Alberthetti, who desperately wants a race win here. Jochen Hahn desperately wants a win on home ground. Tony Idden, the FIA race director, will give the signal. The lights go to green and away they go, and a good start made. Look further back on the grid from Jose Rodriguez, number 14, who dives out wide, but Antonio Alberthetti gets his nose in front on the run down towards the Mercedes arena for the first time. He's going to brake as late as he dares as they go into the corner. Jochen Hahn tries to go right round the outside of him. Antonio Alberthetti grabs the advantage. Hahn will try to get up the inside at turn 2. Alberthetti is just ahead of him. Here comes Hahn, but he can't do it. There's a spin in the pack as well as around goes Sascha Lenz, and he's on the grass. So Sascha Lenz has had a big lose at the very start of the race. He's all right, he gets going, but it's Antonio Alberthetti then that leads the pack as they come down through turn 2. Jochen Hahn is behind him, and then Norbert Kisch is 3rd with Adam Lachko diving up the inside there to try and get ahead of Steffi Halm for 4th, and there's contact and bits fly, but Alberthetti has done the hard work and he leads the way. What a start.
Fabulous start. Absolute perfection from Alberthetti there, getting through that turn, getting ahead of Hahn. That's going to give him, oh, what an advantage.
Sasha Lentz had a spin at the same part of the circuit last year after contact with Norby Kish. And there, look, the race leaders are absolutely nose to tail. Kish dropping back a bit third. Fourth is Lachko ahead of Hahn now. And there is Gert Kurber, 27, diving up on the inside. Ryan Smith making good progress as they come out of the Ravenel curve and the Bilstein curve for the first time. But Hahn, look, has certainly got the truck speed. He's right on the back of Albafetti, who needs to make the MAN as wide as possible. The Iveco right up behind him as they thunder through the Ad Van Bogen for the first time, up towards the chicane. Norbert Kish trying to close, so you've got three different brands, MAN, Iveco and Mercedes, 1, 2 and 3. Albafetti comes out of the chicane, and Jochen Hahn now plans the move, doesn't he, for turn 1. It's got to start here to try and get a good run out of the Jaguar curve, perhaps to the inside line, down the pit straight. He looks at the inside, Albafetti chops across the front of him. Can Jochen Hahn now get a good run? René Reinert's gone a missing on the first lap as well, so René Reinert, who was third on the grid, has gone off on the opening lap of the races. Here they come, Albafetti just ahead.
Yep, just ahead. 0.439 of a second.
Right on his tail, Jochen Hahn, as they dive down towards the first corner. Norbert Kish third, everybody else in a line for fourth. Look, Lachko, Hahn, then going well is Rodriguez. In 7th place now it's Thomas Robineau. In 8th place on his tail is Andre Curzin. Ryan Smith gets into the back of him, and there's a little bit of damage done to Smith's front. And in 10th place is Gert Kurber as they wriggle their way up through the Mercedes arena once more with the two race leaders absolutely nose to tail. Have a look up the road there. Hahn, look, he's crawling all over the back of Albafetti. Out wide goes Robineau. Up the inside dives Andre Curzin. They're going to be side by side into turn 2, and Curzin gets the job done. That was good stuff.
Good stuff, good move there. Very smooth overtake.
So Andre Curzin then goes through, gains the place, and they sprint their way down towards the hairpin once again. Now Ryan Smith tries to get up on the inside line as well. Can he find a way past? No, he can't, because now spurred into action. Look, Thomas Robineau defends the place. So Robineau has dropped back behind Curzin. Smith's on the attack. He's taking Kurber with him, and then Shane Brereton at the back of that little queue in number 17. We're on then lap number 2. The graphic telling you how many are done then as Smith rides shotgun on the tail of Robineau. Through they come together. So up front, Albafetti leads the way. Norbert Kish might be the salvation of Albafetti here. If he gets onto the back of Hahn and attacks, Jochen will have to defend and he'll go slower. And so Antonio Albafetti might be able to pull away. But he leads. Is he on borrowed time? Jochen Hahn is not going to give up, is he?
He's certainly not. But the pressure from Norbert Kish is going to take the focus of Hahn off in defence.
There's Adam Lachko going through the bonneted Freightliner in 4th place, run by the Bagheera International team. His teammate Ollie Janes a bit further back. Through goes Smith. He's got himself past Robineau now. And the rest of the pack wriggles out of the chicane. There's Frankie Wojciech, 91, the recovering Sasha Lentz behind him. So Lentz at the end of his first spinning lap was 21st, but he's carved his way up the order now. He's getting great guns.
Good recovery, yeah, very good recovery.
So he's put himself now up into, what, 14th place as they come through. Over the timing line he will now come. Lentz to the inside line. The gap between the leaders still 0.4 of a second. Albafetti just ahead has now looked to the inside line. Lentz tries to line up against the hugely experienced Frankie Wojciech. Wojciech to give him his Sunday best. And up the inside line goes Lentz. He will break as late as he possibly can.
And he's got it, I think.
He's got the job done, but he runs wide, and that forces Wojciech offline. But he's got through. So another place gained by the recovering Sasha Lentz. That puts him now into 14th spot, because Lentz had actually, Wojciech had dropped a place on that earlier lap. Albafetti versus Hahn, the two leaders still nose to tail. Jochen Hahn is not noted for being an overly aggressive driver. He's pretty smooth, but he might have to get his elbows out here to force a way by, and he desperately wants that race win. Behind him in 3rd place, Norbert Kish has dropped back a little bit this time, and Hahn there looks on the inside at the Ravenel curve. Look how much curb they use there.
Whoa!
The dust thrown into the face of Jose Rodriguez. He's having a really good run in 6th place here at the moment. Got that battle within the Grammar Cup going on as well, as through the dust they all come. So trying to police track limits becomes ever more difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if there'll be any penalties there.
Ollie Janes on the back of Frankie Wojciech. Here's the leading battle again. So we're on lap number 3 of 13. Absolutely as one they come up towards the chicane and clipping the curb. Antonio Albafetti, it is up front for the moment then. Further back, a challenge is made. Gert Kurber tries to find a way up alongside Robineau. And...
oh, contact.
There is indeed. Kurber's already had contact with Refuenzo. René Reinert's in the pit lane with damage as well. So it's been a bit bruising, and René Reiner, having qualified so well, out of the race. There's a 10-second penalty now being given for overspeeding to Stefan Fast, number 24, who's running in 12th place as the leaders thunder by. Down towards turn 1 they go, and Jochen Hahn tries to go around the outside and then perhaps get the undercut, but he can't do it. Albafetti may not be the quickest right now, but he's got the widest truck.
Certainly has.
So nose to tail they run down towards turn 2. Albafetti slows it on the apex, meaning that Hahn can't find a way by. Through turn 4 now, and there, look, lower down the order. Battles are still raging up and down the field. Rodriguez Senior coming under attack, as up alongside him there goes the recovering Refuenfo. Number 20 is Theo Calve. He's on the tail of the Brit. Ollie Janes in the second of the Freightliners. So Theo Calve here accelerates into turn 4. Irving Klein-Nagelvort just up ahead of them. And Ryan Smith has been done for overspeeding as well now. The British driver has been given a 10-second penalty for overspeeding as Calve goes to the inside of Janes, and he's going to go through. That's brave stuff. Great. Dived out, and through goes Theo Calve. That was a very good move indeed for 16th place.
Especially at that corner. At that corner.
Points in the top 10, and with these being on a natural grid, the first race of each day, more points. So you get 20 for a win, down to 1 for 10th rather than the 10 that you do for race 2. Janes into the back of Calve. Here are the race leaders. Antonio Albafetti still ahead of Jochen Hahn. It's slightly surprising that Norbert Kish isn't a bit closer to them, but maybe he's biding his time here. What do you think?
Might be biding his time, yeah, but it might be in his favour to put more pressure on Hahn to upset him.
Might also be an element of preserving tyres and brakes on a hot day like this.
Yeah.
Temperatures rising all the while. It'll be hotter for race 2 as there. Look, diving up the inside goes Gert Korber. That's going to get him ahead of Thomas Robineau, and he goes through easy peasy.
He's on a charge.
Shane Britton comes up to have a go as well. Can't quite do it.
No.
Over the timing line they come then. Lentz just ahead as they come past the pits. So Heinz Werner, Gert Korber gaining the place. That puts him 9th, plus of course with Ryan Smith's 10-second penalty he's going to gain further ground as they come now down towards the first corner. There is Sascha Lentz up on the inside of Stefan Fast, and he will go through and gain another place. That puts him 12th now. Remember, points to the top 10, so Lentz creeping his way forward, trying to get himself into the mix. The fans watch on over at the chicane.
That is a fabulous recovery by Lentz.
It is, isn't it? And it's been done cleanly as far as we can see.
As far as we can see, yeah.
So down towards the hairpin comes 27. That is the charging Gert Korber in 9th place. The fastest lap early on done by Antonio Albafetti. Jochen Hahn doing his best to stay with him. That gap still hovering around the 4:10s marker. Look now, Norbert Kish dropping a long way back.
Yeah.
We've done 4 laps, but the gap second to third is widening all the while. Thomas Robineau, we were talking about earlier on, he's had one of the Grammar Cup wins from Misano. He missed the Hungaroring event, and he's back here going strongly as up towards the chicane. Come the top 2, Albafetti just ahead of Hahn now.
They're joined together with a piece of string by the looks of it.
Absolutely right. Doesn't get much closer than this, does it? And Antonio Albafetti, desperate for a maiden win of the season, hugely experienced. Great character as well, Antonio Albafetti, whose car racing career rather fizzled out as Super Touring left him behind in touring car days, but he's instead found a very happy home in truck racing. So the MAN leads the Iveco, and Jochen Hahn now, with effectively a third of the race done, is getting onto his toes, isn't he, as he comes over the line. 5 are in the book now.
Just doesn't have the power to get by there on the straight.
But he has just done the fastest lap of the race. Jochen Hahn down towards turn 1. And Norbert Kish shouting, wait for me in the background. He's there in 3rd place. Look, 4th and 5th are still at it. Lachko versus Halm. And in 8th place currently is Ryan Smith. Now, he's got this 10-second penalty, so whether he keeps 8th remains to be seen. But that would be pole position for the second race, don't forget.
Yep. Norbert Kish is just dropping back again and again.
He is indeed. There's the confirmation of how the top 10 runs at the moment. So Ryan Smith hanging on to 8th place, Pro 10. 17, Shane Brereton, came out of National Saloon Stock Car Racing, International Hot Rods, and then into pickups to truck racing in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And Shane Brereton has taken to this like a duck to water. He's lost out to Sascha Lentz, however. Lentz is now up into 11th place. And if we can get Sascha up past Thomas Robineau and into the points, I think that will be a great recovery from that spin early on. Great racecraft, Lentz is displaying, isn't he?
Yeah.
A drama there. That's Rethwenko, I think, that's gone around. It is Luis Rethwenko. He was on pole position for the Grammar Cup, but he's got damage. Look at the front of the truck.
Yeah.
Now, who was he up behind? He was with Calvé and ahead of Janes, and there's been a coming together between them. Here are the leaders, and it's very much now a two-way fight for honours, isn't it? Because dropping away, as you say, is Norby Kish.
Yeah.
I wonder whether his last podium place is in jeopardy here. What do you think? Can Lachko get up with him?
Yeah. Matchko's certainly drawing him in.
So here are the race leaders once more out of the Jaguar curve. Gap just widening slightly. Up past the pits they come. Antonio Albacete in the MAN leads the way, and he's now done the fastest lap of the race. Takes that away from Jochen Hahn as they come through. The gap up to 0.6 per second as they come past the pits. They're now down towards turn 1 again.
Yeah. Albacete does seem to be pulling a gap on him. Seems to have more power down the straights. But then Hahn's experience around the bends is plays, and he reels them back in.
Now, just looking at the lap time of Ryan Smith, he's doing his level best to get away from Gert Corber. At the moment, he is secure. Even with the 10 seconds, he would keep 8th and pole for race 2. So he can't afford to relax. He can't afford to be caught. As there, look, Lentz gets himself up past Robinot. He's into 10th place. He's into the points. Great recovery.
What a recovery. What a race for Lentz. It must be his best ever.
Well, in terms of number of overtakes, absolutely. We need to now get an award for places gained, like they have in touring car racing. There is Ryan Smith, and he is not giving up either, because he wants to get past Andre Curzim. Ahead of Curzim is Jose Rodriguez.
Whoa, that's a lot of dust.
Andre Curzim switching teams for this season to the Don't Touch Iveco squad, away from Tank Porphyron Svansig, with whom he had a lot of bad luck last year, had to miss a lot of races. Just skimming that marker. Ryan Smith then, he's on his toes. Here he comes! Bodywork flies from Curzim's rig ahead of him. And that makes the track a little bit littered. But look at this, 3 of them as one.
Yeah.
So Curzim has a look to the inside of the chicane, can't do it. Smith tucked up behind him. Over the curb they come. Whoa! Ryan Smith goes way off the road. And is that a breakage? The truck just didn't seem to want to turn. And Ryan Smith then is off the road. Bang goes his pole position for race 2. And I don't think he's going to get back on. I think as though he might have hit the curb hard and something broke. There are the race leaders. We've done 7 laps now.
Adam went a bit wide there. But Albacete is really in control of this race. He really is being a master. A ring master, as they say.
Adam Lachko then comes through. A reigning champion, keeping Steffi Halm at bay, who's been a winner here in the past.
Yeah.
But Lachko not having anything like the dominance of last year. But the second race grid's going to be intriguing, isn't it? Because Smith will be off the back of it. Reinert will be off the back of it as well.
Ryan's still moving, but it doesn't look like he's coming back onto track.
No, I think his best hope is to try and cut across and get into the pit lane, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Try and give them more repair time, because they've got another race to come later on in the day. So big drama. Now, the next one to garner a penalty is Anthony Janiek, because he has now been given a 10-second penalty for overspeeding as well. Albacete leading, dropping back is Kish third, so it's all about these two. It's about as close as a lead battle as we've had all season. And Albacete is doing a great job, isn't he, of withstanding all of this pressure as Jochen Hahn again gets a good run up the hill towards the chicane.
Yeah. Whoa, so close. But just Albacete just seems to pull away, doesn't he?
Out of the chicane they have come, out of the Jaguar curve now onto the pit straight. So Albacete it is who leads the way. Behind him is Hahn. The gap last time was 0.4. Jochen Hahn certainly not given up, and again he pulls out to have a look at maybe getting the advantage down to turn 1, but Albacete has a little bit more grunt and go in a straight line, so he just stretches it, but only by 3 truck lengths. But then he's coming into this heavy braking zone, and each lap will become a little bit more difficult, and Hahn into the back almost of Albacete there. He means business, doesn't he?
Yeah, you couldn't get a sheet of paper between them there.
As I said early on, Jochen Hahn is not noted for being overly aggressive. He's smooth, he's quick, he's consistent.
But he wants to win.
He wants to win, and is he going to have to get his elbows out here to do it? The rest of the field still streaming through. There is Norbert Kish in third place. But slightly mystifying as to what's going on with the Freightliners this year, because Lachko, again, is there or thereabouts, but nowhere near as quick as seasons past.
No. But Hahn is not able to catch him. Oh, used all of the track there, did Adam.
And
again.
Digs up the turf, coming into the Ravenel curve, past the Reiner fleet of trucks that are all part watching on. And the Governor in the pit lane, though.
And here the leaders nose to tail yet again. Some damage here on the track there. And as they break into the chicane, Albacete still there, not so close that time. On lap 18 of 13.
8 done. So lap 9 we're on. Out of the Jaguar curve they come, still together. And up the curb runs Albacete. Now, Jochen Hahn's normal trick is to try and pull out of the draft early, as there goes Gert Korber coming out of the chicane. Behind him is Sascha Lentz, who's now into 9th place, and he might gain 8th. If you get Lentz onto pole position for race 2, it could be the save of the day, couldn't it?
It could.
There are the 2 race leaders down towards turn 1 once again. Albacete just ahead, the gap half a second this time. So Thomas Robineau leading the Grammar Cup as Jochen Hahn gets sideways, trying to get the undercut here going into turn 2, but not close enough.
No. You can just see Hahn is trying harder and harder to push the truck and just get those extra inches.
That's right, there's Shane Brereton just keeping at bay the penalised Anthony Janiak ahead of Stefan Fass, closing right up.
Whoa.
So we're on to lap number 10 now, 9 in the book. In front of the Mercedes Hospitality, in the Mercedes arena they turn, and there are the race leaders. This must be the longest 9 laps thus far Albacete has ever done, because he has had this relentless pressure of Jochen Hahn tucked up behind him.
Yeah, it must be horrendous pressure for Albacete. I mean, it's especially with such competent competition immediately behind him.
Adam Lachko still dropping away behind as well. Yeah. In the Grammar Cup, it's Thomas Robineau from Shane Brereton from Stefan Fass, and there they are. Stefan Fass at the back of that little gaggle, and all of them have had a win this year. There goes Shane Brereton, Anthony Janiak behind him. There is Stefan Fass in the second of the Tankpool Fierance Fancy Racing Mercedes. And there, Frankie Wojciech up alongside Theo Calve. This is the 14th. Wojciech is defending in the white rig. The yellow peril of Theo Calve for the Lahn Truck Racing team slides out of the hairpin. But can he find a way through now, coming up towards the Ravenel curve?
Yeah. No.
Over the timing line goes the 4th place battle. Adam Lachko versus Steffi Halm down towards turn 1. Now they're dropping away all the time from the 3 leaders. The gap between them is only half a second. And Steffi Halm equally frustrated, I suspect, here, because she can't find a way to get past the reigning champion, but the reigning champ's holding her up a little bit because his pace isn't there. The Team Schwaben Truck Racing Iveco of 8 times a winner, Steffi Halm, still trapped in 5th place.
And running out of time.
Absolutely right, because we're on lap 11. So there's the race leader, Antonio Albacete, still fending off Jochen Hahn. Down through the hairpin they come. And now they accelerate.
Whoa.
Very sideways indeed, Jochen, this time.
He's just trying harder and harder, isn't he?
There you've got Adam Lachko still 4th. More and more of the dirt being taken by Steffi Halm behind. Just going back to that battle between Wojciech and Calve, the age gap between them is something like over 40 years. But they're both giving as good as they get. They're the three race leaders down towards the Ad Van Bogen. The last lap that Norbert Kish did, incidentally, was quicker than Jochen Hahn, so the gap's down to 2 seconds between third and fourth. Maybe Norbert Kish now in the final 3 laps of the race is having another good push.
Yeah, could be.
And that's Kurber versus Lentz. This is for 8th place rather, and pole position in race 2. Sascha Lentz is almost there. It would be very disappointing for him, and not to say the least, if he only got 9th after all of this, so near and yet so far.
Yeah, that would be a disappointment.
So into the chicane he comes. The way that he's going suggests that he will catch up to Lentz. Further up the road there, look, Kurzim on the back of Jose Rodriguez, both going strongly. And the race leaders have gone by with the gap now nearly a second. Is this Hahn having to settle for second place all of a sudden? Has he had a push and overdone it? Because remember, he was very close a lap or 2 back, but now 0.9 of a second as they came onto this 12th lap of the 13.
Yeah, it could be he's just going to have a smooth finish in the second place.
He knows how to win championships, of course, does Jochen Hahn, and he would only be giving away by this one race 5 points to Albafetti, who's not really a rival within the championship, and Hahn is still staying ahead of Norbert Kish, who is the main opposition. So he might as well settle for it. As there, look, you've got Stefan Faas at the back of this battle pack, on the tail of Janiak, on the tail of Brereton. In the meantime, Frankie Wojciech's just gone over the timing line, keeping Theo Calvé at bay. They're 14th and 15th. Shane Brereton then, who is currently second in the Grammar Cup. Jose Rodriguez there, fending off the challenge that's coming from Andre Kurzim. Kurber is next, and the gap between Kurber and Lentz, 1.6 seconds. But on the first sector here, Kurber is responding. There's more drama there as Klein Nagelvoort gets involved with Eduardo Rodriguez at turn 1. And Klein Nagelvoort did not take kindly to that, did he?
No. He did. He's now going to be on a mission to get by Rodriguez.
Trouble is, he's lost enough ground, I think, for that not to be possible.
No, there's not enough time left. Well, if your brakes don't work, use the competition. Whoa, more.
That's Rodriguez Jr. being attacked by Kurzim. So both Rodriguez have been in the wars on the same lap. Kurzim is now caught by Kurber, who goes to the inside. Kurzim moves across and defends. Lentz waits for it to end in tears ahead of him. He's almost bought into this now as they come ready to start the last lap of the race. Albafetti's being caught again by Hahn. But now, all of a sudden, 7th, 8th and 9th are as one as they come over the timing line. Kurzim is just ahead of Kurber, who is just ahead of Lentz. There's damage on Rodriguez's truck as well, so it's all kicked off right at the very end. Here is the Brereton, Janiak and Faas fight coming out of the Jaguar curve. That's not done yet either. No. And down towards turn 1 goes this leading group. So Gert Kurber, for the moment, number 27, the orange and white Schwaben truck entry, hanging on to pole position for race 2 later on in the day. But Sascha Lentz desperately keen to get that from him.
Yeah.
To the inside line goes Kurber, but he doesn't force the issue. Gert Kurber slots back in behind. Sascha Lentz might have to make his move here, coming out of the hairpin as they accelerate now up towards the completion of another lap. And way out wide there goes Andre Kurzim. Is that going to give Lentz a chance to challenge? It does, but he hasn't got the width. He's got wheels onto the dirt. Round the outside, tries to come, does he? Sascha Lentz. And there are the leaders about to put a lap on Ollie Janes. Albafetti is almost done now. The last real opportunity is going to be at the chicane for Jochen Hahn, and I don't think he's close enough to even attempt that. No, he's not. The gap is widening once again.
Yeah, Ollie Janes looks like he's in trouble.
Into the chicane for the last time. Antonio Albafetti heading for a maiden victory of the season. Jochen Hahn is going to increase his championship lead over that man. Norby Kirsch as the leading trio comes out of the chicane up towards the Jaguar curve then for the last time. The checkered flag is at the ready. And so Antonio Albafetti from pole position, the Spanish driver is going to win race 1 here at the Nürburgring in the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Antonio Albafetti wins race 1. Jochen Hahn takes 2nd, and Norbert Kish comes home in 3rd place. And we're not done yet, because this is the fight for 7th, 8th and 9th. Gert Kurber, for the moment, looks as though pole position for race 2 is going to be his as they come out of the Jaguar curve, and so near and yet so far for Sascha Lentz.
But what a recovery for Lentz.
He's not given up even on the line. He tried to get up alongside Kurba, and he missed out by 0.288 of a second. Albacete wins from Jochen Hahn and Norbert Kirsch. Adam Lachko fourth from Steffi Hallmann, the battered Jose Rodriguez. Then Kurzim, Kurba, Lentz, and Thomas Robineau to round out the top 10. Thomas Robineau winning the Grammar Cup in the process. Great drive by Antonio Albacete, wasn't it, though?
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. He was in control of the race the whole way through. Just drove an excellent race. Impressive, very impressive against the Meister. But as you say, the Meister doesn't lose very many points in the championship. So he maybe resigned himself to second place.
Indeed, because that's the first race won of a day that he's not won so far this year. But by staying ahead of Kish, he keeps the championship, increases the championship advantage. So a job well done for Jochen Hahn and Antonio Albacete having a very welcome return to the top step of the podium. Great drive by Antonio. The fans have enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Had everything, didn't it? Some drama, some good attacking drives, some good defensive drives.
Yeah, and lots of rubbing.
Yeah, the race director might have a look at, but I don't think any of it was the wrong side of the line, was it?
No. But shame for Ryan Smith and for Rennie, because he retired early, something.
Yeah, it was damage, wasn't it, that did for Reiner after contact in the Mercedes arena early on. So let's confirm the top 10 then. Antonio Albacete, the winner, by 8/10ths from Jochen Hahn, and then Norbert Kish in third. Adam Lachko fourth from Steffi Hallmann, Jose Rodriguez sixth, seventh Andre Kurzim, Gert Kurba eighth, ninth is Sascha Lentz, and Shane Brereton rounding out the top 10. And that means that Shane Brereton got ahead of Thomas Robineau on the last lap, and it means that he wins the Grammar Cup from Robineau. Anthony Janiak 12th, there's only one of him incidentally, 13th going the way of Stefan Fass, 14th Frankie Wojciech ahead of Theo Calve, and then Eduardo Rodriguez. Erwin Klein-Nagelvort next from Terry Gibbon, and after his spin, Louis Refenko. We lost Ollie James, we lost Ryan Smith, and we lost René Reinert as well. So the trucks making their way into Parc Fermé very shortly, and we'll have a look at the highlights of this first race of the weekend. It all began with Sascha Lentz having his spin coming out of turn one, and plenty of action on the first lap. Gert Kurba getting in on the mix. René Reinert suffered damage and was very slow on his way back to the pit lane. Ryan Smith got into the back of Andre Kurzim. He lost out also to Thomas Robineau, but worse was to come for Smith coming out of the chicane mid-race, with the truck making the first but not the second part and ending up off the road. Great battle was on as Sascha Lentz, after his spin, fought his way up through the pecking order. Jose Rodriguez started to drop away from the leading sextet into the clutches of that pack behind him as Gert Kurba came up to attack Thomas Robineau. Theo Calve versus Ollie James, the two young guns going toe-to-toe as Kurba made his move on the inside of Robineau, curb and all, going into the Jaguar curve. Sascha Lentz picked off Stefan Fass going into the first turn. And Lentz, after his earlier woes, getting up to 9th place, but just missing out on pole position. Robineau being penalised late in the race for that overspeeding. That's how Shane Brereton got ahead. But plenty of other battles raged on as Andre Kurzim looked for a way past. Ryan Smith was looking for a way past Kurzim, but then only got half of the chicane with some sort of either breakage or puncture putting him off the road, and Smith, disappointingly, out of the race.
Yeah, I can't see the damage. So it must be. Well, we can't assume anything here, but we'll wait for the reports from the pits.
Albacete then on target for the race win, despite the best efforts of Jochen Hahn, who threw everything at it over the course of the last third of the race, going one side and then the other. In the end, he wasn't quite able to hang on in there, whereas Erwin Klein-Nagelvort was run out wide by Eduardo Rodriguez. He tried to force his way back onto the circuit, but Eduardo Rodriguez's rig was not to be moved. On the same lap, his son came foul of Andre Kurzim's zealotry coming into the chicane. They managed to battle their way on, but a sideways Kurzim was suddenly reeled in by Gert Kurba. As to the checkered flag, Antonio Albacete took the win. So there in Parc Fermé is the Spanish driver. Very, very happy with life indeed.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time coming, that first win of the season.
You'll have to have the smile surgically removed.
I think you're right about that. An excellent drive by Antonio Albacete. And now he's got to go from 8th on the grid for race 2. And that's going to be a fascinating lineup, isn't it? When you reverse Korber, Curzin for the front row, Rodriguez Jr. and Halm for row 2, Lachko and Kiss for the 3rd row, Hahn and Albafetti for row 4. So they're the top 3, ready for the scrutineering checks to be done post-race. Out we'll get Antonio Albafetti. The championship officials are there, but Antonio needs his crash helmet. Ready for the weighing of the drivers, the hands device, and out he jumps. The tougher the better. Well, it was a tough race, wasn't it, for Antonio Albafetti, but for Truck Sport Lutz Bernau, the Spanish driver, very pleased indeed.
Very pleased.
Walks over to say well done to Jochen Hahn, who pushed him oh so hard all the way through that race. Jochen, second-generation truck racer, he used to spanner for his dad Conrad, and when his dad gave up, so Jochen Hahn took over and has been a mainstay of the European Championship and a mainstay of the top step of the podium for getting on for 2 decades now. And Norbert Kish, like Albafetti, out of car racing into truck racing, is the man that takes 3rd place, and as the rest of the rigs are waved into Parc Fermé, we'll get the drivers up shortly to the podium.
And no damage to the top 3.
No, but it was close on occasions, wasn't it?
Yeah. Skill. That's called skill.
So for the fans now, they get a chance to enjoy some lunch within the break. The drivers go into the fan village, which is always a very popular part of the ADAC Truck Grand Prix, and indeed of all the FIA European Truck Racing Championship weekends, where there's autograph sessions,
selfies
lots of things to do. Yep.
Oh, there's someone sunbathing with a keep out the sun. It's very easy to get sunburnt here, so that's why everyone has a hat. It's very exposed up here in the Eifel, but it's a really beautiful day and really hot out there. I think it's up to like 26 degrees at the moment, which will mean that the track surface is probably up in the high 40s. So that's another factor to add into the tyres and your use of tyres and the smoothness of your drive. And with the weight of the truck, that is a key factor. Some families out on the grass, about to have their picnics.
Fine figure of a man there.
Fine. I wasn't going to mention it.
That reminds me, I've got some cold chicken eating at home. They will be back on track later on for the second race with this semi-reversed grid, with the race getting underway at 3:45. Meantime, time for more of the track parades as out pour the Harley-Davidsons and the American bikes, the three-wheelers.
The tricycles, the three-wheelers. The Germans love these three-wheelers.
Yes, because?
I don't know.
Right.
You have all the disadvantages of a car and none of the advantages of a motorbike, in my view.
There's the fleet of Reinert trucks. They look rather better than the Boss's racing truck did at the end of the first lap.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
It's a huge firm, isn't it, Reinert
Yeah.
Logistics?
Oh, yeah.
And that's just a snapshot of it.
Yeah. Goodness.
Plenty more of those up and down the Autobahn this weekend working for a living.
Yes.
So the drivers go to the podium in the paddock, which is absolutely full, and they'll have the autograph session later on in the day. There is the podium to come. We might get a chance to hear from the winning drivers. The live stream will return at 1:25 this afternoon, because we've got the GT4 race to look forward to. And after that, there'll be a quick break before we get into a busy afternoon of the second European race, the Mittelrhein Cup, and then the go and stop. So there's lots more action still to come on the ADAC Truck Grand Prix live stream over the course of the afternoon. The barbecues are in full swing though, and the fans getting ready for lunch, and the teams set to work to get the trucks ready for later on in the day. Ryan Smith, that we were talking about in the context of race 1 and the problems, he was a winner yesterday, in fact, because he's already won in the Mittelrhein Cup, the British and Dutch championship round. That's a key part of the weekend. So Ryan was a winner in dominant fashion yesterday. grafted on there, I think.
Yeah, it's usually a car axle, isn't it? Oh, there's some bikes joining them as well. Honda Gold Wings and the like. Whose truck ensemble is this? Or is it just all the private trucks? Oh, there's Rennie's in the background.
So it's a major event, this, not only for truck racing, but for the manufacturers and for the haulage companies. It's the perfect showcase. It's a good place to entertain your guests as well. But if you look into the paddock, there's a huge Mercedes area, and the other manufacturers are all represented as well, and so are the industry suppliers. So it is a key weekend for all concerned in German truck sport. Yeah,
the Lion Racing team area in Mercedes is huge. Look at these bikes, these trikes. Is it trikes the right word for these?
I think so, yes.
They've got a whole undercarriage. And
impressive paint job as well.
Yeah.
It's like sitting in an armchair at the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they will get a lap or two shortly. Our winning drivers are making their way, as I say, towards the podium. They have to be rounded up first by the officials. And then once everybody is happy, the podium will take place, and then the autograph and the interviews in the fan village as well. But instead of hiding the drivers away, podium's done in the village to make the drivers more accessible, which has become a good idea.
Yeah, the fans love it, and they love to meet their heroes and get their signature and get the selfies, and it's good for them to be in communication with each other. Goodness. Some of these modern bikes, though, have ABS and traction control and heated hand grips and heated seats.
Serious bits of kit, aren't they?
Yeah. Built-in GPS. Oh, some sidecars.
Even more quirky.
Well, they have like car tires, so they don't have the normal bike tire. They have like flat car tires because of the sidecar. AC/DC. That's bright.
So the bikers are good to go. There's also, of course, demonstration laps, parade laps from trucks as well as bikes over the weekend. And we'll have the drivers up to the podium very shortly indeed. Funky clothing, funky haircuts. It's a different world, isn't it?
He's
Got all his badges sewn on.
He's a triker.
Yeah. But if it's noisy, it's here, isn't it?
Yeah.
This weekend.
On a Sunday here, you can't make noise unless you're a car or a race car.
Mm-hmm. So motorbike racing here is a non-starter. Why is that? The legislation such, or what?
I don't know. I'm not a motorbike guy.
But when you say about you can't make noise unless it's a
That's
car.
it's just a general thing for the social. You're not allowed to cut your grass or do work or stuff on a Sunday.
Okay.
But at the racetrack, you can still have noise, and most shops and things are closed, apart from the petrol stations, to fuel the noise.
Right, I see.
But they have a big event here every year. I think it's called the Anlässen, where 20,000 bikes come and do a lap of the Nürburgring and then get blessed. And it's a huge biker. 20,000 bikes, it's just incredible. The place is just gridlocked with bikes.
On a Saturday, presumably.
Sunday.
Oh, that's the one Sunday you're allowed to do it, is it?
Yeah.
So there is the podium ready. Fans are present and correct, and the drivers are going to be called forward then. So for third place, Norbert Kisch will step up onto the podium. Yet another podium finish, but he still has not had a race win this season. For second place, there'll be a great reception, I'm sure, for the local hero, because second goes the way of Jochen Hahn. 4 wins and now a second place. Jochen Hahn arrives. And then for the top step of the podium, his first victory of the season. And for an 80th career win, Antonio Albacete. Great reception for the Spanish driver.
Who is ecstatic. He is
Absolutely.
ecstatic.
That means a lot. It's a milestone win, 80. Yeah. And to do that under competition from Jochen Hahn is very special indeed. So then looking across at the 3 drivers, ready for the national anthem of the winning driver. And I'm not entirely sure the flags are the right way round there, are they? Because I think we have a German flag over Albacete. That was rather optimistic, I think, for
yes,
the Jochen Hahn
I had
fans.
noticed that, yeah. The drivers have noticed the flags.
Jochen thinks it's good value. So somebody clearly expected Jochen Hahn to win that.
Yeah. And has forgot to change the settings.
So honorary German Antonio Albacete, honorary Spaniard Jochen Hahn celebrate first and second. Norbert Kisch, he's okay, he's still Hungarian, I think.
Yeah, he's still Hungarian. He says his hero is Lewis Hamilton.
Interesting choice. And then the presentations in a moment will be made.
I've changed it.
So there, from Road Tiger, the third place trophy goes the way of Norbert Kisch. So more podiums, more points, but he hasn't quite got the pace of an outright win. He was excluded from the very first race of the season at Misano, which put him slightly on the back foot, of course, for the remainder of the season. But Norbert Kisch has fought back with a 5th, a 3rd, a 4th, a 2nd, a 5th, a 4th, a 3rd, and another 3rd in this 9th round. Jochen Hahn takes 2nd place. And Antonio Albacete then will then take his 80th win within the FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And for Truck Sport Lutz Bernau, there is the trophy for Antonio Albacete. And he celebrates a race win here in our first FIA ETRC race of the weekend. So the drivers all crowd together on the top step for the purpose of photographs. And so now for race 2, you take that top 8, reverse it, and you put another of the local heroes, Gert Kurber, on to pole position. Jochen Hahn flings his hat to the crowd. And the Grammar Cup podium I think we might get as well. Shane Brereton, Thomas Robineau and Stefan Faas being the top 3 drivers there.
Yep, champagne first. Obligatory champagne splashing. I'm sure the photographers love that.
So clink of the bottle. Norbert Kisch happy with his points for 3rd place, happy with the podium. And Jochen Hahn extending that lead in the championship, but with a little bit of work to do to work out why he couldn't find a way past Antonio Albacete. I think the smart money was that Antonio was going to get mugged by Jochen in that race. The redoubtable shape of Sam Smith, the FIA media delegate, has arrived in order now to interview the drivers. And whether we'll get the audio of this, I can't promise you, but Sam, who was a small boy, he was once a small boy, goes back to watching Antonio in Formula 3000, admits to being an Antonio fan, has a word with our race winner. But apologies that we can't bring you the audio of this, but we'll try and piece together what he said in the quotes post-event. And Antonio Albacete then the race victor by, in the end, 0.8 of a second. Michelle, can we have this audio or not? Can we get the audio of this? It's a bit pointless watching a man and not hearing it. No, not of this, no.
For you out there today?
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with the second place. Why? Yesterday we lose a little bit on the time practice, and I must accept the pole position. So he make no mistakes, and then it's impossible to overtake. The first 10 laps I can go a lot faster than him, but that's it. Second place. I'm very happy in Germany and very happy. That's it.
In seiner unnachahmlichen Art sagt Jochen Hahn natürlich.
Racing Nürburgring for Tampol 24, Mercedes-Benz. A nice start there. There seemed to be a lot going on in those early stages, Norby, and you came through past Rene, who's since retired, into third place. The maximum you could do today here at Nürburgring?
Yeah, I think it was the maximum because clearly there was a lot of laps for me to try and catch Johan and Antonio, but it was not possible. So yeah, I think third position is the maximum. I'm really happy with it because I started from fourth actually on the outside of Rene, but I could stay on the outside in turn one and then have a very, very good exit out of turn one. And then the next turn I was already ahead in third position. So yeah, I'm very happy because, you know, to overtake one and come to the podium on the first race, it's not easy because it's a lot of points, you know, and everybody fights really hard. So yeah, I'm really happy to be on the third position here in the Nürburgring, and a big thanks for the team for the hard work.
Well done, Nobby.
Ja, also auch Norbert Kiss ist sehr zufrieden, hat gesagt.
So congratulations to our top three. Norbert Kish for third place, Jochen Hahn for second, and race winner Antonio Albafetti. That gap at the end, just 0.8 of a second, but Jochen Hahn making the point that it was hard to overtake, impossible to overtake around here, but Sasha Lenz proved that it was possible to overtake, but you could argue that's because he was getting past
Thank you, everybody.
Slower tracks.
Race 2 is coming up, so we look forward to seeing you all on the grid and for another excellent FIA ETRC race. Many thanks.
Thanks, Sam Smith. We see us later. We will see us later. So, wir kommen dann.
So our podium complete. And I think now, from the overall classification, we turn our attention to the Grammar Cup. And so the drivers will be brought forward shortly. Stefan Fast for third place, Thomas Robino for second, and Shane Brereton as the winner. So the drivers are being rounded up and now called forward. And I'm afraid to say that the wrong top three is being brought forward because Stefan Fast was third, Shane Brereton was the winner, Thomas Robino was second, and if Jose Rodriguez appears, he's not a Grammar Cup driver, so I'm not quite sure why he's been. The timing screen has had him as a Grammar Cup driver, and I'm told by the FIA that's wrong. But Jose Rodriguez has accepted the laurels, and the plot thickens. But we've been talking about Brereton as the winner because the FIA have said that Rodriguez is not eligible for the Grammar Cup, so quite why he's been allowed on the podium remains to be explained.
Someone tries to block the whole camera with the Union flag, Union Jack. Yeah, that is unusual.
I think the officials have gone off the timing screen, but as I say, during the course of the race, there was confirmation from the FIA officials that the timing screen was wrong. So that information has not been translated, and Jose Rodriguez has not latched onto the fact that he's not eligible. So Shane Brereton is the notional winner. However, we'll let the organisers worry about all that and rectify that for later on. But it does rather take the shine away from Shane Brereton, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, to go from what the FIA have confirmed, Stefan Fass for third, Thomas Robineau for second, and Shane Brereton the winner. Thomas Robineau getting a penalty late race. Shane Brereton might be a bit puzzled by all of this, but Shane has been an outright winner in the past. This, remember, is for the chrome graded drivers. And Jose Rodriguez, who took a very good 6th place overall, gets the trophy, but whether he should, I wouldn't like to vouchsafe. So a round of applause for our next drivers onto the podium. I can't say the top 3 in the Grammar Cup because they may not officially be so.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll sort that out. The noise you can hear in the background is a procession of very well-painted trucks with lots of scenes on them. There's some Vikings just going by us now, followed by some dinosaurs.
These are all the show trucks, and it's not just the cabs, it's the entire trailer that's painted as well. So some very,
That's
very
quite
impressive
yeah.
liveries, yeah.
And the next truck is a space truck. Spacemen on the moon with satellites.
So for now, Thomas Robineau celebrates taking what he thinks is third, but life might get better when the result is corrected and confirmed. And we will have the trucks back on track later on in the afternoon. So on the live stream, we will head away from the Nürburgring for an hour and a half or so. We'll be back at 1:25 with the first of the Central European GT4 races. And after that, a quick break before we get into the second FIA ETRC race, the second Mittelrhein Cup race, and the go-stop to round out the day. But congratulations to Antonio Albacete, race winner of our opening FIA European Truck Racing Championship 13-lapper here at the ADAC Truck Grand Prix.
Einen ganz herzlichen Glückwunsch an das Trucksport-Team Bernau. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Ich habe ihn eben schon mal gratuliert, jetzt mache ich es nochmal offiziell. So, und auf dem ersten Platz in der Teamwertung haben wir bei diesem ersten Rennen die Bullen von Iveco. Herzlichen Glückwunsch. Und ich möchte es jetzt ganz besonders erwähnen, zu Ehren der gesamten Teams, die hier ihre Vertreter entsendet haben, erklingt jetzt die deutsche Nationalhymne mit hoffentlich auch der deutschen Fahne. Bei Portugal hat es schon funktioniert. Für die Teams der Truck-Europameisterschaft. Die haben nämlich nicht nur 4 Rennen, haben überhaupt alle nicht nur, sondern ganz, ganz viel Arbeit. Herzlichen Dank von den Fans dafür. Wir kommen zur Pokalübergabe. An die Drittplatzierten gibt es dann wieder von Bernhard Weiger einen Pokal. Herzlichen Glückwunsch an das Team von Tankpool 24. Gratulation. Und der Pokal für den Zweitplatzierten geht verdienterweise an Trucksport Bernau, Lutz Bernau in Person. Herzlichen Glückwunsch nochmal. Und der Sieger dieser ersten Teamwertung an diesem Wochenende, das ist die Mannschaft der Bullen von Iveco. Herzlichen Glückwunsch auch zum Sieg. Gebt noch mal einen Riesenapplaus für die Teams. Das wäre mir sehr recht und würde mir sehr am Herzen liegen. So Männer, offizielles Foto. Ich weiß, das mit dem Shampoos, das schenkt ihr euch. Ne? Das macht ihr trinkt das ordentlich, ne? Das wird alles prima. Herzlichen Glückwunsch und natürlich weiterhin viel Erfolg an diesem Wochenende. So, Freunde der Nacht, beziehungsweise dieses wunderbaren Tages. Wir werden um 12:30 Uhr, das ist ja gar nicht mehr so weit hin, 35 Minuten, hier die Autogrammstunde mit den Fahrern haben. Der Truck-Europameisterschaft, Viertelstunde sind die hier. Ob sie alle immer kommen können, das ist auch ein bisschen dem geschuldet, wie das Rennen gelaufen ist, was es zu tun gibt. Also, nächster Halt hier im Fan Village, der könnt ihr sowieso da hinten machen, was ihr wollt. Da ist Simulation, da ist alles. Hier auf der Bühne, nächster Halt, 12:30 Uhr mit der Autogrammstunde der Fahrerinnen und Fahrer der Truck-Europameisterschaft.